each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon. Love driving his Jaguar. So welcome to the machine. I do not own the rights to that song. It's funny because I'm sharing and I can see. Just wait. I'm just watching the closed captions there. So somebody asked if I was going live again. So here I am. I was going to. Hey, Becky, it's good to see you. Good to see you. We were on because we were running some errands, and I'm like, "You got a topic?" I'm like, "I need a topic for them to go live." And we were listening to "Let It Be" by the Beatles, and she's like, "Well, use Let It Be." It's actually a great topic. It's just not inspiring. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. I'm Dion. And Becky, thank you for that offer for helping. I appreciated it. I notice that stuff all the time. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. It's that willingness, that willingness to go to any length to get and keep our sobriety. And we can't always make everything that we want and things like that. But I've been trying to grow that group because I don't want to keep chairing it and hosting it every time. I'd like to, sit back and participate every now and then, but you'll get there when it gets there, so everything's kind of trial and error, but it says I couldn't pray because I'm watching football. So. Like what everybody says. Because we might make the playoffs finally and it's kind of exciting and stuff. But anyway, let's kind of get started. Now, there's some examples in here. In addiction recovery, the idea of quality over quantity means that it's more important to have a few high-quality resources than many surface-level resources. This can apply to both relationships and recovery capital. Now, we're not talking about capital here. So I don't know why they put recovery capital in there, because that would equal money. And that's not what we're talking about. But let's remember that this is an AI overview. And, it's nice that a machine can do that for me, but there's nothing like the human touch. So, really, because here it says relationships. A few close, understanding friends can provide more support than a large number of acquaintances. It's better to focus on deepening relationships that are positive, respectful, and supportive. That isn't where I was really going towards, but that is important. It is, It says that in the big book that you're going to have a host of friends. And my mind wants to put a number on that, or it sees something large. But a host of friends can be 3-4 people. I was just talking to my wife about how many people that I would consider friends at this point, and it's not very many, but those are important to me. Those relationships are important to me for certain reasons, right? Recovery capital, having a few valuable resources can be more advantageous than having many resources that aren't as useful. It's also important to be willing to use the resources available. I'm going to apply that to recovery coaching. It's been a while since I talked on recovery coaching, and I tend to give them a hard time, but I think that the concept of recovery coaching is a fantastic idea, but they need direction, right? So The thing is when it comes to being a recovery coach, you're only as good as your resources. And if you're not utilizing your own resources, you're not a recovery coach. Because recovery coaches don't make nothing. Okay? They do not make much money. So if I see you recovery coaching and eating filet mignon, I know something's up, right? See, finding a home group, for me, I could go to 3 meetings in a day, but what I'm looking for is that quality meeting. Today I got it. Thank you, God. Otherwise I would have had to wait till the 5 o'clock, which is not happening. Right. So, but there was quality in that meeting. So it says other factors can contribute to successful recovery: improving your sleep quality, addressing emotional health, taking care of yourself, building a strong support system, having motivation for change, living in the moment while thinking long term. I think that's a good one, because for us, we live a day at a time, right? And that's really, we tend to, we'll get to that. Adopting healthy habits like exercising, eating a balanced diet, like that, just develop, because I don't exercise, nor do I eat all that well. So I can't really sit here and say, hey, yeah, you need to do that when I'm not doing it. Okay. I can tell you this, it does help. I could go for that. It's going to, what is the key of quality over quantity? It's probably going to say the same thing. When you prioritize quality over quantity, you can allocate your time, energy, and resources more effectively. That's a great way to put it, right? Because then I'm not spending energy foolishly. Then I'm not spending my energy on that. And I'm going to kind of go over what I kind of think about it here in a second. It just always helps me to get something else going, a reading or something, because then I can base my talk off of that. It's called cheating, but that's what I do here. It's not really. What is quality over quantity? What does it say? It's better to focus on a few quality things than amassing an inferior thing. Oh, there you go. So quality over quantity, in a sense, would be being grateful for the things that you have in your life, even the things that are kind of crappy. That would be quality. Okay. Doesn't even need to be quantity. We're just going to do a couple more of these. I'd actually asked it a different way. Let's see what it says here. So quality in the big book. All right, so here it is, and this is where we're going to get to. If you'd like to follow along, I'm going to be in step 2 in the 12 by 12, page 32. Page 32. Yeah, I opened it up and it was 23. It's just opposite. Me and my numbers. I noticed numbers, right? So we're going to do that. And then I'm also going to pull something out in the big book. Give me a second here. As soon as I remember where it's at, it'll pop in my head while we're doing this. So I'm not going to worry about it. Now let's take the guy full of faith, but still reeking of alcohol. He believes he is devout. His religious observance is scrupulous. He's sure he still believes in God, but suspects that God does not believe in him. He takes pledges and more pledges. Following each, he not only drinks again, but acts worse than last time. Valiantly, he tries to fight alcohol, imploring God's help, but the help doesn't come. What then can be the matter? To clergymen, doctors, friends, and families, the alcoholic who means well and tries hard is a heartbreaking riddle. That's just not that. To most of us AAs, he is not. There are too many of us who have been just like him and have found the riddle's answer. And here it is. The answer has to do with the quality of faith rather than its quantity. That's what we're talking about when we say quality over quantity. What quality of faith do you have today? All right. I can't remember what page it is, and I'm gonna blow it, but it doesn't matter. As soon as I remember the line. Because now I got like a bunch of lines going through my head. A big book. What we have is a daily reprieve. All right, now we're going to go to big book, page 85. I should have known that. That's okay. All right. It is easy to let up on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. You know what I'm going to say. You know what I'm going to say. Most people are anyway. All right. Laurels. Let's just go to the definition of laurels. Okay. Because we need to understand these words. If we don't understand them, we can't apply them. Definition of laurels.
Here's the definition of laurel. Any of a number of shrubs and other plants with dark green glossy leaves.
Wrong laurel. Bestow an award on someone in recognition. Okay, what does resting on our laurels mean? It's an idiom. And the idiom is to be satisfied with past success and do nothing to achieve further success. That's it. Okay. Does it mean sitting on our asses? A little bit. Okay. But when I use yesterday's success or last week's success for today and find enjoyment out of that, I am resting on my laurels. We call that satisfaction. And it is a dangerous place for an alcoholic. I feel satisfied. I'm going to tell you something. I never feel totally satisfied. I have serenity and balance in my life. But when it comes to helping other people, I am never totally satisfied. Okay. So I give myself 80%. Okay. So resting on our laurels and understanding it. We need to explain these things. We need to get back to, if we read something in a big book and we don't know what the definition is, we must look it up. It is part of the process. So anyway, we are headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subtle foe. Yeah. See, what's going to happen is you'll be satisfied with that, and then it will continue on. Well, I feel bad right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think of something good in order to satisfy you. That's not quality. It's not quality. See, when I said quality over quantity, we kind of thought time, didn't we? But see, time in AA doesn't matter. It does not matter. Okay. Today, and this happens to me quite often, that somebody will say something in a meeting that I need to hear that has a lot less time than I do. See, it doesn't matter. I needed to hear it. Right? And this person wasn't going to go to a meeting. I'm like, well, you want to go to a new meeting with me? They're like, yeah. They're like, I didn't even know what I was going to say. I'm like, you said exactly what your higher power wanted you to say. See, isn't that cool? Because I put in a little effort. That's all it was. What I get out of that, well, I got a success. That's today. Tomorrow's going to be different, right? Okay. We are not cured of alcoholism. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. Right? Just like my PTSD, my mental illnesses are not curable. They are maintainable. And I'm going to have to learn a lot of skills in order to maintain that. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. And this is why I'm covering this, so that we understand the time portion too. Okay. Is time important to us? Sure it is. It's nice to think, yeah, I got 8 years of sobriety, man. I'm almost back to those double digits. I had 12 years of sobriety at one point. Okay. Did I lose those 12 years of sobriety? No, I did not. I remember when I was about 9 or 10 months sober, And one of my friends, Terry, who moved away, Buckhead, he was one of my only friends left in the program, man, like long-term friends. And he said, Dion, you're going to get those 12 years back, but you're going to have to work your fucking ass off to get them. And he was right. He was right. Yeah. Okay. So what do we have today? Now, you have nothing. There's nothing else in this world besides right now. Okay. Anything outside of this moment in time is a what if. There's nothing else. So enjoy what's going on now. That's hard for me sometimes, especially when I'm in a place where I don't want to be. And I can still bow out with grace now. Well, I lie. On Christmas, I told my family I had to run a 3:00 meeting. That's not unusual in my life, but there was no 3:00 meeting. I just wanted to leave by 2. Because I knew more than 2 hours, and I was probably going to make my mother's Christmas a little more uncomfortable. And that's not what so I did what I could. I did the best that I could. Okay. So what we really have is a daily reprieve contingent. Let's look up, let's find out what contingent is. We know what it means, but once we hear a definition, it like solidifies it. Definition of contingent.
Here's the definition of contingent. Subject to chance.
Subject to chance. Now, in this case, I would have thought, right, I did think that is contingent. That means that there's requirements. Let's see what else we got in here. Occurring or existing only if certain circumstances, yes, are the case dependent upon. Noun, a group of people united by some common feature forming a larger group. Gee, what would that be? That'd be Alcoholics Anonymous. But in this case, my contingency is the steps. Okay? I have to keep working this every day. Okay? If you can keep this in mind and accept it, okay, it'll help. I go to bed a recovered alcoholic every night, and I wake up a drunk. There we go. And I start my prayer, and it's about 15 minutes, 20 minutes after I've woken up, I'm back to a recovered alcoholic. And that's kind of how I work it. I don't know what's going to happen during the day, but I do know that I'm willing to do what it needs to be I do know that I'm willing to do what needs to be done in order to achieve my own sobriety. Okay? So what is the maintenance of our spiritual condition? Work on it every day. Pray, meditate, go to a meeting, help another person. Help another person. So every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all of our activities. Now, it's the vision of God's will. Okay? You don't have to put a dot on your forehead, go to the airport, wait for people to come out and tell them the good word. You don't need to do that. You just need to be you. Inexplicably you. And that's going to be really hard to do in the first place. But once you find who you are, you ain't going to want to stop. Because we're really good people. We thought we were these crappy, chronic, hopeless, we get called a lot of names, alcoholics. Now they want to call it a disorder. You know, it's funny because when I'm talking to professionals, they'll be like, AUD, and I'll be like, because nowadays it's his, her, no, and people are appeasing. I say, I prefer alcoholic, thank you. I do. I prefer alcoholic over disorder. I don't have a disorder. I have a mental illness. Let's quit calling names. Okay, alcoholic, drunk, I'm fine with. Okay, it tells who I was. Okay, but if when we go around talking over other people's heads, that serves no purpose except to except to, to our pride. You run around saying alcohol use disorder. Did you ask? Did you ask if that was okay, NADAC? NADAC's the big association that takes care of professionals that help other people through addiction, and they're horrible. They're horrible. They spent the last 10 years coming up with alcohol use disorder, substance use disorder. Doesn't that feel just so much more? No, it doesn't. It does not feel better to me. Thanks. And quit trying to save my fucking feelings, you assholes. Stop it. Because anything done to appease the alcoholic is wrong. All right. Little tangent there. So every day is a day that we must carry God's vision into all of our activities. I was just talking to a young man, and I'm counting cash. I'm like, man, I don't know how to count by fives. He was talking about how, I said, well, cash can be obsolete soon anyway. He's like, that's a good thing. I'm like, oh boy, you don't get it, boy. I'm like, no, it is not. I'm like, imagine one day you go out to go do something and they cut it off just because they want to. I said, the more convenient your life is, the less freedom you will have. Just imagine your internet going out. Total inconvenience. Your life will go on. Your life will go on. It's a convenience. Quit treating it like it is something you need in order to survive. But gosh, isn't it neat that now we have Zoom meetings and stuff? I've been hearing people say things like, Zoom's just not cutting it for me. And all I hear is, I'm not willing. That's what I hear. I'm willing to go to any length. I prefer in-person meetings. It's a different thing. But that is not where God has led me. That's not where he led me to. And he took away my driver's license. I can't go to an in-person meeting right now. All right. I'm getting it back January 8th. It was not my fault this time. It was not mine. That's the only good thing I'm taking out of it. All right. All right. I'm gonna finish this up, and then I'll end because meetings in a few minutes. And the person that asked me to do this did not show. Hopefully they're taking a nap, honestly. All right. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. These are thoughts which must go with us constantly. We can exercise our willpower along this line all we wish. It is the proper use of the will. Right? Now, I do want to say that doesn't mean that that old timers and people that have been in the program for a while, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't listen to them. It's one thing that I'm kind of noticing. I would highly recommend that when people know what they're talking about, that you listen. Okay? There's been a lot of drug talk in AA meetings. And people, you got to understand, you're going to be better use of your addiction in the proper place. In the proper place. Miss you too, Ingrid. I love you too. Have a good day. Thanks for popping in. Hey, if this is where you can find me, say hi. That's great. Makes me feel better. Right? But I'm noticing that a lot of newcomers, they're just not listening. They're not listening to these old timers. And I think we're just being a little too nice. Okay? Now, I understand cross addiction, all those other things. But here's the thing. We're not going to be able to understand where you're coming from. And what's going to happen is you're going to get frustrated and feel even more lonely. And you are doing this on purpose to yourself so you can continue your bullshit. Okay? It's about arenas. You got to understand the arenas because we are here to be the most effective. Now, here's the thing. Now, I talk about that. We shouldn't even be talking about alcohol in meetings. We're supposed to be talking about the solution. And when it comes to the first step, I'm so tired of the first step, right? That and how to make it through the holidays. If I go to another meeting that's about making it through the holidays, swear to God. Okay? We got it. Thanks. See, it gets a little frustrating, right? But these old timers know, we know what we're talking about. When we say it is a different hell with a head full of AA and a belly full of booze, we are not kidding. And it is not a requirement. You do not need to go that far down. So, hi, Michelle. It's good to see you. I was just ending. I feel a little bad, but the Bronco game's coming on, and now my tumble is rumble, as Winnie the Pooh would say. I got a rumble in my tumble, which means I'm hungry. So it was a good thing. It was a good thing for Dion. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend. I will be back tomorrow. Go Broncos. I love you. Peace out.